Shalom, shalom. This is the brother Bot. You're back here once again. Before I get started, like always, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rahakudash. The bonus to my teachers, all the apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect, man. Yeah, how did we end up with this? How did we end up with this? And by this, I mean the language of the Lashawan Quadash, the holy tongue, right? You can call us black. You can call us extremists, okay, the black Hebrew Israelites. You can say we just want to be a part of something. That's why we gravitated to the truth, right? You can say we don't have the truth. You can say that we're not the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. Whatever you Christians and scoffers want to come up against us and try to say, you can say whatever you want, right? But how did guys that, some brothers were on the block, right, in the hood, in the ghetto, selling drugs, being gangsters, quote unquote gangsters. Some brothers were big into the sports world. Brothers were big into the gaming world. Some brothers were just focusing on their career and school, whatever um, part of life you came from before you entered into your heritage of being a Hebrew Israelite. How did people who've been taught their whole life that they're just black, Mexican, Hispanic, Native American Indians, how did we end up with this language if we was forced if the language of our oppressor was forced upon us, the language of English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, so forth and so on? How did we end up with this? Now the first article I want to pull up is the top 10 biblical archaeology discoveries of 2022. And one main one I want to go to is one that they found. I believe they found it in Hezekiah's tunnel, right? Let me see. And it's listed at number 4, right? And it says Hezekiah's monumental inscription. Now, what language is this? What language is this, brothers? How did we end up with this language? Right? Because that's another thing they say. We don't have the pure holy tongue, the pure ancient language. Paleo Hebrew means ancient language, right? Old language, but it's called the Lashawan Kodash, the holy tongue, right? That's what we call it, the holy tongue, the Lashawan Kodash. Um, how did how did how did this end up on this stone, right? Thousands of years ago, and we end up with the same language today. We weren't taught this language in school. They didn't teach us this in their American schools, right? So it says Hezekiah's monumental inscription. In October, archaeologist Elash Shukron and epigrapher Professor Gershon Galil presented the result of a new RTI of a fragmentary stone inscription first discovered in 2007. It says the two-line 8th century BCE inscription discovered in a refuse heap near a pool connected to Hezekiah's tunnel. All right, so they found Hezekiah's tunnel. Then they found this inscription with the language that we have today. How can you explain that? How do we end up with this language today? All right. Let me see. Go back. What was that? It says. Um. It says. Galil noted this is the first time where a monumental Hebrew text mentions the achievements of a king, akin to the monumental inscriptions found elsewhere throughout the ancient world. While the fragment itself is a rather small hand size, the large lettering indicates it indeed belonged to a significant monumental style inscription. Right? Let me go down a little bit. It says the archaeologists believe these inscriptions attest to Hezekiah's waterworks being constructed in the 17th century of his reign. Right? And then they put the scripture there that it refers to. And it's 2 Kings 20:20. It says, "Now the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and all his might and how he made the pool," right? So definitely, it's definitely biblical. Now, and that was one of the top discoveries dated for year 2022. Even though they found it in 27, this article is dated in 2022. Now, next one I want to pull up here, right? It says incredible. Notice how this type of stuff isn't all over CNN and Fox and the Shade Room, right? Black Media, BET. It says incredible ancient seals bearing biblical names recently found in Jerusalem. Let's take a look at some of these seals. Let's go down. Well, I have the seals put up, but I want to read this. It says 120 seal impressions were recently found at an excavation site in Jerusalem. 120. Why wasn't this all over the news? Because they don't want it all over the news, right? It was quoted to be one of the most significant discoveries made in recent years, according to the directors on behalf of the Israeli Antiquities Authority. So they know damn well that Yiddish they speaking is not the true language, because they're finding artifacts with the true language on it. It says the team of excavators led by Neria Sapir and Nathan Ben Ari, directors of the excavations just south of Jerusalem, say that these treasures date back roughly 2,700 years ago from the period of the kings in Jerusalem. All right, let's go to the next tab that I got pulled up. It says clay seals inscribed with biblical names found in Jerusalem. Look at some of these seals. Which language is that, brothers? Which language is this? Which language is that? All right. That's clearly the language that we've been gifted with in our time. Right? We came out of the world and somehow we just ended up with this language that they're finding on these ancient artifacts. What language is that, brothers? Which language is this? And some of these seals are broken, of course, because they're thousands of years old. All right. Look at that. What language is that, brothers? Clear as day. Clear as day. You can't make this up. How did we end up, if we're just niggas on the corner, right, with dresses on that want to be a part of something? How did men that was carted over here, that our ancestors were carted over here on slave ships, forced into servitude, taught the heritage of our oppressors, first forced to learn the education system of our oppressors, forced to integrate into the money system of our oppressors? How did we end up with this language that was never taught to us in the churches or in the schools? How? Explain that for all you scoffers out there, right? Let's go to the next tab I have. It says tiny First Temple seal impression found with name of Bible era royal steward. Let's find out who that royal steward is. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. You can still see the preserved Paleo Hebrew on it. You can still see the Lashawan Kodash. Right? Oh, look how small it is too. Look how small this is. Wow. And it's kind of like the necklaces we wear today with our names on it, but instead they're just seals. Or we may have like the Lord's name on our necklaces, stuff like that. Mm. There was another picture, but it's not popping up right now. But that's okay. Let's see. I'll just go to the next tab if it doesn't. And this is on the Times of Israel's website. This is on the official newsletter page of the Amalekites, right? The so-called Jews, right? JOOSs. Yeah. Yeah, so bear with me 1 second. I'm just reading through this a little bit. It says, this is who they think this seal belongs to. It says this grave was originally commonly thought to have been that of the most famous steward Shebna, all right, who is described in Second Kings and in the book of Isaiah as the royal steward of King Hezekiah of Judah. Tantalizingly, he was expelled from duty and is recorded as having carved a grave. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up, man. So they don't know for sure, but they're saying that, you know, that's who they believe it belongs to, which most likely who it does belong to. And then on it says uh it says a minuscule seventh century BCE clay ceiling reading belonging to Adoniyahu, the royal steward, was recently discovered in the city of David Scythian project. Yeah, that's who it belongs to. An earth excavated from the foundations of the western wall under Robinson's Ark in 2013. Blah 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 blah. It says the ancient Hebrew name of a character found seven times in the Hebrew Bible, right? And Onayahu, literally, the Lord is my master. In English translations of the Bible, the name is written Adonijah, Adonijah, right? So that's who this seal belongs to, brothers, and Adonijah. Uh, so let me go to the next seal. Let me go to the next tab I have pulled up, and this is just a list. This is just a list of the seals that has been excavated. All right. Um, Let me see. And as you can see, all right, the language that are on these things, uh, you know, look at the language, man. How did we end up? How did we end up with this? How did we end up with this language? If we're just niggas on the corner, if we're just nobodies shouting from the top of our lungs because we're mad at Whitey for our plight here in America, how in the hell did we end up with the same language that is being found on these ancient seals that's being excavated? Oh, you gotta explain that. You gotta explain that. You know, that shows you that this is the truth. Well, this is just one of the many things that shows you this is the truth, right? Which we're in this by faith, but it's a long list of things that proves this is the truth. So let's go over to the blue letter now, and of course you can do more research on these things in your own time. I just wanted to bring these to light, and if you're already familiar with them, refresh your memory because it's also a faith booster that we're continuing in the true doctrine, the truth of the Bible, despite what the world says. You should already know where I'm going in the blue letter. This is Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9. Going straight to the point, it says, "For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent." So we're able to call on Yahweh Bahashab, Yahweh Shai, because we've been gifted back, right? This pure language, right? We've been gifted. Your language, which can't be denied no more, which is what we call the Lashawan Quadash, right? The ancient Paleo Hebrew. I mean, they found this one. This one is just amazing to me because they found this one right by Hezekiah's tunnel where he built the pool, the underground pool. And what you know what I'm saying? Like you can't make this stuff up, man. Can't make it up. And of course, they're not gonna put it all on the news because they don't want it all on the news because they're demons. Let's see what this video says, man. And look who's doing all the digging. Edomites. Damn Edomites. That's who's doing the digging. Look at these niggas. Look at these niggas. What's this video? They just finding these things all over the place, man.
Discovered, and she certainly is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, archaeologists in Jerusalem's history. And I believe as time goes on, her discoveries will be further vindicated. And that's one of the jobs, I believe, of what we're doing, is just trying to give voice and vocal support and also academic support to her discoveries and her claims, both in the city of David and the Ophel. But this article is this magazine itself is very important for you to get. It's available to you.
So I guess the top archaeologist, excavator, this woman here, she's the one finding a lot of these things. So all you people that need proof, facts, hey, she the one finding this shit. Let me see, man. Bear with me too, cause I didn't watch this beforehand. Trying to see something.
Biblical narratives. The article, I think, is definitely worth your time. Haaretz actually had quite a good article about this as well, I believe, by Ariel, the results of the study. So I'll play that for you now.
In our research, we reconstructed the magnetic field of the Earth, which was recorded in 21 destruction layers in 17 archaeological sites throughout Israel, and we used these changes as a dating tool. This way we could check biblical narratives regarding the Egyptian.
Esau just out there just finding all ancient relics. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna see what this video says, and then I'm gonna go to my next precept.
The periods of the first 5 books of the Bible, Joshua, Judges, writing in those time periods. Of course, talking about the discovery of a tiny curse tablet, 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters, with 40 proto-alphabetic letters on them, or very, very, very early Hebrew, we could put it that way. This is the oldest proto-alphabetic script that's ever been found in the land of Israel.
Yep, so y'all just out there just finding, unearthing facts. Before in this video, because I'm gonna look at some more of them videos that just pulled up. I never seen those before, but it just seems like they're just finding a whole lot of artifacts of our heritage. Go to Psalms, man. Psalms chapter 85, and let's wrap this up with verse 11. It says, "Truth shall spring out of the earth. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven." All right. So yeah, man, truth is going to be revealed more and more in the last days. All you scoffers out there, how did we end up with this language that's being found over and over again on these artifacts over there in the land of Israel, where we claim we're from, and that we've never even been over there? In Jerusalem. Come on, man. I hope this was edifying to whom may ever be able to receive it. Shalom.